In my way!
So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I never used to completely understand or even like JRPGs, especially, Japanese RPGs. Even though I liked anime, I never really took the time or considered any time in my life that I would want to play or sit down and play one of these games because, I liked watching them more than playing them. Until one game changed that entire existence for me. Hello, my lovely Chaos of the internet. It is I, Multi126789, other known as Multi-Man. Welcome to the video where I'm going to talk about Etrian Odyssey 4 and the fact that the Nintendo Direct just came out not that long ago. Probably by this recording, I'll say it was out on, I don't know, like the 8th of the February, just for people who need context of what Direct I'm talking about. So yeah. My first ever JRPG that I started and finished and completed and even did some of the post-game of was Etrian Odyssey 4 for the Nintendo 3DS. It has been a decade and like 2 years, so like 12 years probably in total, since I last played that game. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you, when I didn't get to record my initial reactions to the Direct because I was late to the party, because I worked that day, and then I came home and I watched the Direct and I was sitting by myself, and then all of a sudden I saw something that I couldn't believe with my eyes. When I saw that Atlas announced that they were dropping all three of the first three original trilogy of that game, I got hyped. Though I was a little bit mad that they never had 4, but we don't need to talk about it. But no, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was overwhelmed. I was like, I thought they forgot about the series. The only last thing that was even close to Etrian Odyssey on the Switch was this other game that I don't really remember the name of right now, but I had on my wish list on my Switch for a while that said, oh, I kind of want to do it, but this one looks like way too dark and grim, and it's like not my style of like how I would like to play this sort of game. But now that I know that all three of the Etrian Odysseys that I haven't played yet are being released, I thought it would be basically a good enough time to talk about my experience with Etrian Odyssey 4 and why I like that game so much. So yes, Etrian Odyssey 4 is a game that I played back in my high school youth. It was one of the few 3DS games that I kind of just went on a whim and said, I'll go ahead and try this. Because I know that back in the day, the eShop had a bunch of titles that had some small demos that you could play so you could at least get a feel for a game. Now, Etrian Odyssey 4 was very interesting to me due to quite a few circumstances that I didn't realize that I actually liked when playing video games before. So the first thing that I realized that I really liked about the Etrian Odyssey series, that I realized going in, all of your characters aren't like story-based. They're all, you yourself are just an adventurer who also so happens to know a guild. And basically all of the characters in the game really don't matter. Not even the main one who most of the characters talk to. Basically, you're just a nondescript protagonist adventurer who also summons all of these people from wherever location that the game so happens to take place. And you basically get these units and you basically just go exploring for dungeons. Now, of course, there is story to Etrian Odyssey 4, but I'll tell you right now, I honestly don't remember most of it other than, hey, there was a big scary empire who wanted to resurrect some sort of dragon and then try to take over a world, or resurrect some sort of entity to then try to use its power to take over the world. Obviously, you probably guess how that played out, but, for me, I was like, that didn't really matter to me, because the first area of the game, of Etrian Odyssey 4, was I think the first time I actually played a video game and started realizing how much I think music impacts me as an individual when it comes to enjoying a video game. real quick, we'll go ahead and give you a little bit of the taste of what that first area music sounded like. As you can tell, this very first piece that you hear in the game, in the first labyrinth of the game, was relaxing to me. Like, I've never once really thought of, like, the idea of nature being intertwined with, like, an adventure-type game being this mystical before. Like, I know of the Legend of Zelda series, but it's always like, you know, the Legend of Zelda series is, like, still upbeat and poppy and, like, makes you feel like you're going on an adventure, right? This one wasn't even, like, as, you know, pronounced as all of those games. It was soothing, calming, and relaxing as you went through this dungeon where, yeah, sometimes you would get attacked and then the battle music would start playing. And then your heart rate would just go up. And then that would be where the intensity of the actual, like, gameplay would be, you know, where it's like, throughout most of the dungeons in most of these games, it feels serene and, like, almost, like, comforting in a way. I don't know if it's just the aesthetic of the game on the 3DS when I used to play it on a really cramped screen, or just the fact that, you know, this game, even though it has points where you can listen to some really, really good tracks, like very good battle and music tracks and boss tracks, I think the atmosphere of that game really sucked me in, because even when I was younger, I never really cared much about fantasy stuff when it comes to, like, knights, chivalry, and everything. Even though, for some reason, I had at some point played one of the GBA Fire Emblem games. Never completed it, but, you know, I just found very much a joy of just making your own characters with their own names, so you basically could make characters that were named after real people in, you know, your IRL or otherwise, or maybe characters that you created for a story that you never actually got to finish, and then use them as their surrogates as, like, real-life people that, you know, when you're traveling them through these labyrinths, you care about succeeding with them and being able to push through all of these boundaries, you know? And I think with that one demo, because you got to play, I think, up until the point you get down to the second or third layer. I forget which one it is because it's been such a long time. And also the eShop doesn't exist anymore, so I apologize. You won't be able to play 4 ever again, both to me and to the person listening to it. But I think the really interesting thing about Etrian Odyssey 4 is that there's really a lot of ways to play it, and you can create as many of these custom characters as you want. Just the only risk is that you will have to level them up from scratch if you decide to do so. But you can always make characters in any unique way or build that you would like, because it has a skill tree system, which is the first time I've ever seen in an RPG where you had the freedom to actually choose what you would like your class to kind of focus on. And then, like, of course, you get all the basic classes, but as you go through the game and, you know, discover different types of classes and discover different types of units that you can then recruit after liberating a kingdom or making progress, it opened up the game so much more, and then you're like, yes, there's so many cool, intricate things in this game, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, almost all the systems from that game got transferred into, like, Persona Q, Persona Q2, which, surprisingly, I didn't like those games as much, I think just due to the fact that, you know, the real reason why I liked Etrian Odyssey 4, I think, and the thing I still think about is that it really enthralled me just to know that even though this game didn't have a main character or, like, even an overall cast that were, like, main cast that interacted, because none of your party members that you recruit from the tavern in the beginning of the game say a single word for anything that happens. Your main character doesn't say a single word. Everybody talks to you, and you have, like, usually tech boxes where you can select a choice. But other than that, your main character doesn't speak, doesn't reflect on anything, you don't even get to see our main character's face. We only see our party members who don't interact with the story, and just see all these wonderful NPCs, and other characters that actually make you enthralled in the story, just because few and far between during your runs of the game. Like, the entire first dungeon, you won't run into any interesting characters. Like, you're just there with your team, walking through the serene forest, in this big labyrinth with bears, and more bears that are trying to kill you, and then all kinds of smaller enemies that you can fight, while just trying to learn the depths and secrets of what this labyrinth has in store. And then as you go on through the game, you get to a biome that reminds me of Eastern culture, with cherry blossom trees and some tile effects that allow you to not be able to see in front of you. And like, oh my goodness, there was so much to such a small game that I found on the eShop. That, by the way, that game was less than $40, I believe. I think it was $40 or $50, and that was money well spent, because I definitely put like almost 60 plus hours into that game. And there was post-game stuff too, by the way. Like, they really gave you the meat and potatoes, where you could like fight the legendary dragons that you can sometimes see on the map, which are like these really strong super bosses. Which, by the way, I think I only defeated one, and I think it was the red one by pure accident. And then every other unique boss or super boss in the game I could not beat. I could not. I literally was not incapable. I was incapable of doing it. But like, no, there's so much good stuff in that game, and stuff that made me realize how much I like the calming atmosphere of the Etrian Odyssey series, that also picks up when you get into battles with, like, listen to this boss track and tell me that there's a reason that I shouldn't be getting hype every time I get into a boss battle and I hear this track. But yeah, like, that's exactly why I think I fell in love with Etrian Odyssey, and I'm very excited to now dive into all three of the other games that I haven't played. There is also two I wouldn't say, you know, off-brand games, but like they're side games where it's like, it's more story-focused, but considering I only played the fourth one, and then I never really was interested in playing any other, because I was like, oh, this one has main characters and stuff, and I'm like, as much as I would like to, I'm like, the reason I like 4 so much, and why I think I like the series so much, is because the main characters are actually the NPCs that you meet that actually fulfill out the world without you having to actually engage in any of that. You just simply take it in as a traveling wanderer, and somebody who enters these, you know, what do they call them? Guilds, just hiring these people and just going on this adventure. And just by happenstance, you just end up helping and saving the day. But, you know, the end goal for your character isn't that you wanted to save the day anyways. It's just that you were going to go and travel the world regardless of anything. And I don't even know if all of the stories are connected like that. I just think that is a Roman numeral just to indicate what version of the type of game that you're playing. But hey, it comes out July, I think the 1st? Or the June or July the 1st? Either way, all I know is that that is kind of a skill. I really hope it comes out with physical copy for the game. I don't know if they said they were going to get a physical copy. Probably will put up on screen here if they did say they were going to or not. I really hope that they do, because I want a physical copy, so, you know, I can trick some of my friends or, you know, my relatives to be playing some of these games, because some of them who are into D&D and stuff, like, genuinely speaking, I think this would be a wonderful series to, like, introduce them to like, start them on their journey of understanding why I like JRPGs in general. Because, like I said, this was the first JRPG I ever played and finished and fell in love with, because it allowed me to experience something that I didn't realize I needed in a video game, which is a sense of harmony, mystery, but also, at the same time, not feeling like I need to be in the experience to enjoy it. Like, I'm playing the game, but I'm not the main character, I'm not the main central focus. There's no big overarching plot or story that literally needs me to pay 100% attention to. It's just that it's simple bliss of walking through dungeons, picking up items, selling them to go back into dungeons so we can get even deeper, and keep trying to fight our way down to see what new things lie in store for us. But yeah, that's basically my talk on how I felt about Etrian Odyssey being announced. for like a collection, and also just my thoughts on Etrian Odyssey 4 as the game, because bro, that game, it was a beautiful game, bro. I'm really sad that they didn't put number 4 in the collection, but to be fair, I think that would have been a little bit too cheap by giving us all 4 of them. Who knows, they may even make a remake of 4. Or maybe just publish it at a later date. Because I honestly think just 4 in itself was really a beautiful and wonderful experience that I would go back and play again if I could play it on modern day hardware. But yeah, my lovely child of the internet, that's going to be everything for me. I have been Multi126789, other known as Multiman. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you have any comments about the Etrian Odyssey series, leave that down in the comment section below. But I have been Multi, and I'll catch you lovely chows next time, so ciao ciao, until then.